I do want to diversify it as much as possible. Try to get in people like we haven't gotten yet, and just kind of like, yeah, just get their feeling. And also, like, if we haven't talked with them in the last couple of days, we can definitely see like how they've been feeling about the rest of the set. You wanna introduce yourself for anyone who might not know you?
I'm GdayMeverick, and I'm from Australia, and I like playing card games.
Yeah, Mav. So some of you guys might remember that one of my decks for Twitch Rivals was entitled Mav is a Genius, and this is that Mav. That was the Karma Ezreal deck where he made the call to literally just like completely cut Shadow Assassin. That was his take, and it was genius.
Yeah, it was just logical. Yeah, it was just logical when you think about it.
Yeah, Mav, you're a big tournament guy. You like, I mean, you've hosted your own tournaments. You've started to like put some on. I think, I mean, I almost just like might have revealed something I wasn't supposed to, but yeah, I mean, there might be some more tournaments in the future. Yeah.
Hopefully, I would love to do them again. Like,
I think what I'm gonna do is just try to have like a bunch of like short one-on-ones. Yours can be quite a bit longer, just because I actually want to get your takes on like some of the some of the reveals we had earlier. Since you're kind of like the expert on like tournament format, as a lot of people probably know, like tournament deck building and strategy is very, very different from ladder. And you and Lobster are like my two tournament guys. Okay, man. So what's what are your takes, buddy? What are you thinking?
I only have like a decent one drop. I haven't.
Back in the day, they used to. They really don't anymore. I don't consider the Blade Scout to be a one drop. A lot of elusive players do like playing that on turn one, but I really don't. Mostly.
Yeah. House Child seems like a solid one drop if you're playing a deck, I guess.
Yeah.
Pretty much it though. Like outside of that, it's just not a good thing, I don't think. Young Witch is interesting because it's like elusive. We've seen how powerful elusive is, and then you're buffing your other like elusives. And quick attack is like, quick attack's pretty. I think maybe even like, maybe underrated. I think quick attack's so good.
Yeah.
But a 2-mana 1/1 gets Vile Feast, dies everything. It's pretty fair, I think. What was your thoughts on the Young Witch?
The Young Witch just kind of seems like pretty decent just because she has the elusive keyword. I give her a Vlad. I was pointing out just before you joined that like the thing is like even I can't even remember the card's name. The elusive Batman card. Even that card is competitive just because it's got the elusive keyword. So she kind of has to be Vlad at least.
The only weird thing is like elusive plus buff, like giving elusive quick attack is like not into it, like not like what they want to do, right? Like
yeah.
So that's the only kind of weird thing about this card, right? Like, it doesn't seem like it would, like the quick attack doesn't really help like an elusive deck. That's what I mean.
Yeah, it's basically just like two mana for 2 elusive damage on board. Like you're just using her for the +1.
I do know like giving a minion quick attack's really strong with that other 2 mana spell that gives them Challenger.
Yeah.
That's where I see this card being like really strong early on. That's
quite interesting. Card. I actually hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, so that 2 mana card I think is insane. That like Challenger plus like a quick attack minion. Like I've played that card and it just does work.
Yeah, I think what a lot of people underrate is like this combo of Challenger quick attack. We haven't seen it like long-term mainstream tier 1 competitive, but one day we will have like the tier 1 cancer is going to be a deck that so easily combines quick attack and Challenger in many different ways.
100%. It's making your minions become like removal as well. Like it's so good.
Absolutely. And this is just another way for them to do that. Like Sonic Wave is hitting synergy points. You were talking about Sonic Wave, that's the spell that gives quick attack, and it's also hitting synergy points in the set because it's doing stuff like discounting the Arbiter of the Peak. It's doing stuff like even leveling Targon if that's your kink.
Yeah, targeting your own minions as well, right? And it gives them attack as well. Like the second thing, it's like a 1 mana +2 attack as well, which is like flexible. It's so much good. Sonic Wave is like probably one of my favorite cards in the game, actually.
Yeah, and I will say, I mean, Lee Sin is looking a little juicy as well. He kind of ties a lot of this together at the same time. You know, Will of Ionia is up to 5 mana as well, and that was really holding back Lee Sin for a while. I feel like this could be a really good addition to a Lee Sin deck, potentially.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
That's a little optimistic. I mean, it might work. I don't know.
Yeah, you know, yeah, it's. By the way, sorry, I'm slightly distracted. I'm still like trying to finish this game up.
Oh no, that's totally fine. I used to do this when I hosted my podcast series in Gwent. I didn't often tell people this, but oftentimes like for the first like 5 minutes of the podcast, I would be finishing up a game, and that's like, you know, it's I tried to pretend like it's not happening, but you can really obviously tell.
Yeah.
It's great, dude.
Getting there.
Yeah.
The next card, Tasty Fey Folk. So when I saw this card, I'm sad that it's in Ionia. Ionia has so much lifesteal already, it's ridiculous. But is that like, maybe that's like the theme of Ionia is meant to have like a lot of lifesteal, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
But makes me a little bit sad. Because like, they already have a 3-drop that's a 2/2 lifesteal that becomes a 6/6. They have like a bunch of other things. I was talking with it chat. But like another region could have really dealt with like a 4/2 lifesteal. Like, you know what I mean? Like, not Shadow Isles, not Ionia, like Bilgewater, Noxus. I know. I think each region would be nice to have like access to some sort of potential maybe lifesteal, but maybe they want to avoid that as well to try to keep it in the theme of like Ionia lifestealing. I'm guessing. To
be perfectly honest, and this is like kind of interesting, but I do think the fact that like Ionia is kind of one of the worst regions for this card to be in, right? Competitively.
That's what I said as soon as I saw that card. I'm like, this. Oh, why is it in Ionia?
So here's the thing I want to point out to people is that this card is very, 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 very similar to Zed, which seems kind of weird, right? Because this one is fundamentally defensive, and Zed is fundamentally offensive. But I think the thing a lot of people don't understand is Zed is an anti-aggro card. I know that seems very weird, but Zed basically forces you to deal with it and remove it. Otherwise, he threatens to race you down, and aggro is kind of the archetype that can't really do that. So the question we have to ask ourselves is like, which matchups is this better than Zed? Which matchups is this worse than Zed? And
yeah, like
might just be worse than Zed, you know?
Well, the reason when you would use this in the Ionia deck is like a control version, right? Like that's like these lifesteal, like the Shadow Isle card as well, the 3 mana 3/2 lifesteal, like they can be used as like control cards, right? Like to stall out the game, help with the early game. The problem is like Ionia already had a 3-drop that kind of was pretty decent at that. If they wanted to go that route, which sort of okay lifesteal, and then also like had insane value in the late game, and that's the whole point of you controlling the game. So, but in everything else, like if it's not a control deck, you'd rather Zed. Generally, like it's just. What do you think about this card as a 3 mana 4/2 lifesteal in general, though? Like if it was like not in Ionia, just as a card, though.
Yeah, I mean, it would be so good in so many regions. Like, there have been multiple competitive decks in the past that run Dreadbloom Wanderer without the toss. And I think a lot of people, like, don't realize that. It's like, you can run, and this is just +1 attack on that. That's crazy.
Yeah, literally, so I'm looking at the things, only regions that have, like, lifesteal is Ionia and Shadow Isles, and Demacia has Radiant Guardian. Yeah. So, like, pretty much if it went into Bilgewater, Noxus, PNZ, or Freylord, that could really help them regions to have, like, that sort of early lifesteal. So that's where it would have been kind of cool to see.
But I guess, like, what I'm thinking is, you know, I mean, if Zed is kind of your answer against aggro, and I know it's, like, so some of chat is disagreeing. I know it's really counterintuitive, but, like, I promise Zed is a defensive card. Like, in every elusive deck, that's why Zed is ran. It's for defense, to be able to, like, fend off the aggro, like, force you to win the race. And
yeah, because
go ahead.
Yeah, like I was just gonna agree with your point. Like it just forces them, like they can't just ignore 6 damage every turn. It forces trades, which then that helps you control, like slow the game down inherently. By trading equals slowing the game down.
Yeah, because Zed is a removal. It forces that, like Zed literally says, I force your thing to block, and that's why it's so good, because it's offensive in the slow matchups and it's defensive in the fast matchups.
Yep. And the fact that it levels up straight away if you don't block either as well. That's something that's super relevant. Like, if they don't block at least one of the Z bodies, it just levels up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the question is, like, when would you run this over Zed? And it seems to me like this is worse in the slow matchups than Zed, and it's probably worse in the fast matchups than Zed too. So the answer is when you need the champ slot, really, right?
Yeah, when you need the champ slot. I don't know if there's, like, the other thing I was thinking about is, like, say there's like no Zed, like you're trying to decide out of Tasty, Fey, and like Emerald Awakener. That's where I see like a decision, and I think like I'd probably rather Tasty Fey most of the time. Like I don't see myself using Emerald Awakener as much if I have this card, right? Like, because it's just like a control deck is just way more worried about turn 3 than turn 10, right? Like, so like this kind of shits on Emerald Awakener, right? Like, how do you see Emerald Awakener being played now? This card. That's the other question.
I don't think Emerald Awakener was going to be seen without this card, really.
Yeah.
People are pointing out there's plenty of Ionia decks that, you know, wouldn't really run Zed but might run this card. Good examples would be like Karma decks, like decks that are really oriented on like pure slow play.
Yeah.
Would you run this card in a deck like that? You've played a lot of like Ezreal Karma, right?
Ezreal Karma, the slots are so full with that sort of deck.
It's true.
Like, it doesn't target. It's like, it would have to be like a meta specific. So like, again, this is where we could see this, like if there was like you're playing an Ez Karma deck in a tournament setting and you're super worried about the aggro matchup and you're pretty confident versus the other matchups on what the meta is. And then you could add this in as like, well, if they don't ban it, then I'm probably going to be facing like aggro. So then, yeah, I could see this card being gameplay. On ladder, it probably is like even less seen deck.
Yeah. Okay, that's very interesting. So you feel like it's kind of like an optional slot in. I guess honestly, you know, this conversation and the way we're evaluating this, simply the fact that it's in Ionia is a really big deal. I think people often just kind of like forget how much like different regions will impact evaluation. Like everyone's saying, oh, is Bastion better or worse than Deny? Well, at the end of the day, it's just like they're different regions, right? And even way back in the day we saw this with Golden Crushbot and Snapper, where like it's not that Snapper is better than Crushbot, it's just you run whichever one is better for the region you're in, period.
Yep.
And yeah, I think that's a really, really key point here. I honestly want to reduce this to a Vlad. I think that the region perspective makes this card like on the competitive level, but definitely a lot worse than I originally thought. Like, what decks can you run this in?
I don't know. Like, Ionia doesn't seem very flexible right now.
Yeah. Ionia is probably the most confused region, like, kind of like design and identity wise.
You know where you could maybe see it? Like a Yasuo deck.
Ooh. Like, that's a burning hot take. Let's hear it.
Well, only just because, like, Yasuo didn't really have that many good 3-drops. If you remember, it had Shadow Assassin. That's pretty much it, right? Like,
yeah.
Now there's no Shadow Assassin. It kind of needed a 3-drop. But, like, if he can do, like, a Yasuo more like a control version, and that's what Yasuo wants to do. Like, it wants to go a bit slower. Mm-hmm. It's not like a fast deck. It's like a late mid-game deck. Like, it wants to get to turn 6, 7, 8. And this helps with the early game. So I definitely could see it in there if Yasuo gets a bit more support, especially something that if they do introduce a card that actually adds Yasuo to your hand. I don't know if they will, but yeah, potentially in like Yasuo deck, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I could see it.
To be honest,
they have people are saying they have Sentry, but Sentry you don't really play on turn 3. It's not like a 3-drop necessarily.
Oh yeah, they got the Sentry. Yeah, Sentry is good as well. Yeah. That also means like I'm just looking at Ionia as well. Like if you're like that means yeah, that's what it's good.
Yeah. Okay. So and then let me go ahead and ask you this. I looked at Fuzzy. We'll see if we'll squirrel for last. I looked at Fuzzy Caretaker and I thought of a lot of different like lines and ways to use it. You know, I was thinking like Young Witch into Zed into Fuzzy Caretaker. There's a lot of like curve plays that can make this card like kind of adorable, and it does heal itself. But ultimately, I did have to give it like the lonely or sad Poro. Like I feel like it's
you don't
just
like it.
Yeah. Ooh, do you think I'm underrating it?
Yeah, I think this guy, like so like you can look at it as like I guess as a single 4 mana 3/3 is kind of bad. It gets like so if you're looking at just stats, if you have a minion on board, I guess it's like a 4 mana 6/3.
Yeah.
But like the things that it synergizes so well with Zed, pretty sick, right? Like going Zed into this is like insane, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. It's a little crazy. The thing is, does Zed need 6 attack? Because its purpose is to kind of force trump blocks anyway, right?
Yeah. That make like it's just like I don't know how you work it, but still like giving like cards like there has to be. It seems like it might be viable like with like I don't know if it's too cute, but it also hard to also say with like the whole set is. Basically, we've seen that it's a lot of support synergy. So there could be like a really good 2-drop or 3-drop support that synergizes well with this as well to like make you curve out with support units. And then this card becomes a lot better. If there's like a solid three, especially if it's like a 3-drop that has like a high amount of health as well. Like
Yeah.
a 2, yeah. I wouldn't underrate this whole support mechanic. Yeah, like especially that it works both ways, right? Like it's double support. Support give. Oh wait, so it doesn't work the way I think it. Wait, does it? No. You don't really get the value unless you have 2 minions on board. Actually, it's
Exactly.
hard to get its value, right?
And if those minions are support cards themselves, which they often will be in a deck like this, like it's gonna be so hard to have like the full chain of units that you won't be missing out on a support keyword, right? Like something is gonna get lost.
Yeah, so when you play this card, you basically... So the first effect is basically like a little bonus that's going to be like niche, I think. And the main reason if you are going to play this card is because of its support effect, like giving a minion +3 attack. But like... I guess it won't be that great. Unless you're playing an aggro deck, right? Like, they're not... Like maybe like a Noxus Ionia deck with like bites and stuff. I don't know. Or like, I don't know. Probably unrealistic. But if you are going to play the card, it will be because of its...
Yeah, so you see potential in this one. Because I feel like
attack seems...
4 mana 3/3
attack seems like a lot.
Okay.
Like,
I mean...
Hold up.
What do you use it on, though? Because unless you're giving it to, like, an elusive, it feels like there will be a lot of... Or a challenger or something like that. It'll have a lot of times where it won't do much. Compare it to Kato, chat saying. It's literally a worse Kato. I feel like having Kato without the might is pretty awkward.
Pretty bad, yeah. 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 Yeah, that makes sense. Probably won't see this play. It doesn't really fit much in Ionia. I'd probably agree though.
Yeah.
I only ever see played like if it's like you have like a huge support deck, right? And like it's likely that you have like, which still seems kind of bad, yeah.
Yeah. I think that overall, like, it's really important not to, forget, and I'm not talking with you. I'm just explaining to chat. It's really important for everyone to not forget that, like, the difference between 3 and 4 health is a really, really, really big deal, right? Like, having that 4th point of health gives you so much more reliability and survivability. And speaking of which, great segue into Swole Squirrel, who does have that 4th point in health. We talked about a lot of ways of using this. It's really hilarious with stuff like Judgment, stuff like Ghost combos. It works with Dragon Kick, Mav. Dragon Kick strikes the unit first, and then it strikes the Nexus after that.
So how does this work? He attacks him, what happens? Double my power.
Doubles his power. His power doubles.
Power double? What's power? Is it health and attack? I'm sorry, I'm noob.
It's the one that punches, the big attack. It doubles his attack.
Okay, just doubles the attack. Gotcha, okay.
I mean, it's a meme card.
Yeah.
I was saying, so what I was saying, like a common combo could be on turn 3 you bank, on turn 4 you squirrel, and 5 you do like Kato into Whirling Death, and you can hit them for a 12. That will give you a 21 attack unit on board next turn.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice. By the way, I will say, like, even if, like, so I'm a person that will probably, like, as you can see in Fuzzy Caretaker, and I think this is good if you're trying to build decks or be innovative, is always try to find, like, look at cards, like, optimistically, right? Like, I don't know, that's how I do it. And, like, how you're talking about Swell right now, you're looking at optimistically, like, how can I make this card good? Like, that, and that's how I think, like, is a good mindset for cards, not just dismissing straight away. You know what I mean? Just saying, like, yeah. So that's cool that you've seen this with Kato already. That's kind of cool one like that. Interesting.
Yeah. It's, I mean, overall, it's like the perfect Heimerdinger emote for me, which is like, I can't say that it... Basically, Heimerdinger says, like, it's very unlikely to be, like, competitive, but it's hard to say how bad it'll be. I think it actually might defy expectations a bit. It might actually surprise some of us who think it's trash. Like, who knows? It's at the very least a very funny card.
Yeah, the 2 and the 3 drop seems like the best drops to me, I think. And then,
yeah.
And the 1 drop probably more than the 4 and the 4. Yeah.
Yo, what's up, Alico? We got Alico in chat. It's been a while, buddy. All right, but you know, Mav, since I've got you here, I'd really love your takes on you know, we covered these 5 cards. I'd love to hear what you think about, you know, some of the other cards, particularly the ones we got yesterday, like Tarek, how good Tarek's gonna be, like that kind of whole expansion in general, like the support package.
Okay, are you pulling them up on your stream?
Yeah, I'll pull them up here, so we can get it all. Oops, this is really scuffed. This is why it feels weird calling this a podcast, because it's just a casual chat, you know. It's just a very casual chat. So let me get it visually all right. But yeah, let's talk Tarek, man.
Talk Tarek. Silent.
Got it fixed it. Okay.
Damn,
Perfect.
you did that transition smooth. Except the emotes are...
I got it. Yeah, not so smooth after all.
Are we leading with Tarek or leaving him for last?
Well, I mean, I just kind of want to briefly get like your coverage on all these cards, right? It's like, especially if you have any hot takes, because for the most part, everyone seems to agree like Mentor is really insane and can be ran without Tarek. And that this whole package makes like Arbiter of the Peak really good. Like Arbiter of the Peak and Tarek are kind of like a package duo now, and they're sort of like just how you get like that support self-target payoff. And I'm just wondering like kind of how you feel about this archetype as a whole, how good it is, and where you see it fitting.
Yeah, I think the gem seems cool. There's so many cards that synergize around spells, right? Like there's heaps of interesting things. Like especially like, what do you guys think about the Shards of the Mountain? Did you guys not like that card or?
Nobody liked Shards. Precipic kind of, but I think he was joking. You can never tell with that one.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, gem seems like, especially if we're doing like this quick attack and challenger things, right? Like these gems seem so buffing like the attacks just a little bit. Makes it like if you've played like verse. Like Draven, right? And he attacks and you've got like a 4 health minion or even a 5 health minion. Sometimes you can't block it because they might have vision in hands or buff. So them having gems in hands can be very threatening, especially if they have quick attack minions. It means that like if you're trying to block with like if you say you have Zed and like 2 gems in hand, it means like it's harder for them to block like a 5 health minion, right?
Yeah.
Like gem seems good.
Yeah, I mean, it's especially like Mentor of the Stones. There's so many ways to use this. So some of the biggest suggestions people have made is like you can make a kind of like support aggro Nox deck. Like a support aggro Nox would look like, you know, you could run a lot of like the Overwhelms, like Draven stuff. You can run Might and clone Might with Tarek. And you can also use cards like, we haven't really seen much play, like Legion Drummer would hit those kinds of decks with Arbiter as a finisher. You can literally just use Mentor as rummage fodder, which is what I think Nick,
that's cool.
Nick was saying he was super big on that. Was it Nick? I'm trying to remember. I had so many different conversations with different guys yesterday. But like rummaging Mentor gems is just so huge. Like when you compare this card to Chumpwump, it's crazy. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, like it definitely synergizes with like that rummage as well. Like it's I wonder if this deck this whole new region probably won't have much targeting cards, I guess. It looks like because Tarek wants to self target as well. I've seen you target or support allies 7 times.
Yeah.
That how likely do you think that is to level up? That does seem like a hard level up requirement. Like it can't just be you've done it, right? It has to be on the board and seen.
Yeah, I've seen.
That's pretty hard.
Yeah. It's not an easy level up.
That seems so hard to do 7 times.
Yeah, that's good.
I guess gems help with that, right? Like, I guess if you have Mentor, that's already 3 levels up with 3 gems. So that still costs 3 mana to play the 3 gems.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. Tarek is like, he has a lot of strong combos, but he's very idealistic as a champion. Like he needs to attack and he needs to stay alive and he needs to have all these level triggers.
Yeah, there's just like gem cards. But yeah, Mentor probably seems like the best, right? Oh, what do you guys think of Tarek's Blessing of Targon? It's just too expensive, right? Or
yeah,
like
I think
it's like it's permanent Fury of the North with 1 extra mana, but I think that's not where Fury gets its value. But keeping the health matters when you block it with a minion with like Fury of the North. Like they lose that health gain anyway, right? So it's not really that relevant that it's permanent. The attack is, but not the health. So yeah,
exactly. That's such an important point as well. Like, I think that this is quite a bit worse than Fury of the North. Bones and Silverfuse think it has a chance of like seeing like 1 of or 2 of play. It's great to draw off of second Taric, right? When you have double Taric, that's amazing. Yeah, that's the main deck in this. Yeah. I'm not big on it. Card. I'm not big on it. But yeah, anyway,
it's a great champion card actually. Yeah.
It's gonna be a very, very fun set. I'm glad we were able to kind of like, you know, get you on, get your takes. We might like mix it up a little bit later, do some like some sort of group stuff. But yeah, no, it was good having you, buddy.
Yeah, I don't really have many takes of like these tarot cards. They just
Yeah, I mean it's really hard to like try to actually make accurate predictions. You know, people forget that because like obviously, you know, when we see just like a very small amount of the set, we don't really know what things are gonna look like. So it's kind of fun to predict things, but
yeah, that's what I was saying. I like predicting cards when like all the cards are out, like before expansion. Like that's so fun. Like when you see the whole set, like back with Hearthstone, like you could that way you can rate all the cards because you have access to all the cards and how they synergize and work with other cards. But I think the Shards of the Mountain. You said none of you guys like that. I kind of like that card. I think that card's super interesting.
Wow.
Like, well, you 4 mana, you get like 10 gems if you have like no cards in hand, right? So like if you think about this, if you play like a mid-range deck, like you think about Demacia, how quickly does like Demacia empty its hand, right?
Pretty fast.
And then you just literally have like 4 mana and having like literally like you could get 8 to 10 gems in hand. That seems really good. Not just for like a mid-rangey like as a late. So this isn't like a turn 4. It's like a late game sort of thing. But with like Demacia, it seems pretty like that seemed like would be like a nice add. But also, like, you could also think of it with, like, Ezreal as an example, but this step probably won't work with Ezreal. But just the fact that it gives you so many spells, and there's, like, cards that, like Puffcat Peddler and other things. I don't know, this 4 mana to generate a handful of gems doesn't seem bad to me.
Okay. That's super interesting.
10 1-mana spells. Like, if you have no cards in hand, like, that's a sick top. But, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I mean, Precipic saw a twinkle of potential in that one as well. Maybe all of us are just like wrong about that one. Maybe it'll surprise everyone. But yeah, anyway, man, it's super cool getting your takes. Thanks, we should talk more. It's been like we haven't talked in like a week for some reason. Haven't intersected, I guess.
True. I've been busy. Everyone's been busy. I gotta go pick up my boy today, actually.
Oh yeah. All right, man. I'll catch you later, buddy.
All right. See you, dude. Bye.
All right, so yeah, that was Mav. He's a smarto. I mean, you guys can probably tell he wasn't like, you know, he hasn't been like fucking grinding the Theorycraft as much as we have, but he's a good taker, very smart dude, and he's gonna hit like early on with some strong like tournament results for sure. So you guys are saying we should get Alan here now. Let's see if I can ring him up. Alan is a hot taker. Alan is known to have like the hottest takes. Also, for those of you guys who don't know, Alan and I disagree on like almost everything. So it's really, really hilarious getting us together in the same room. Oh, hey, Alan.
How do you like the reviews today?
I mean, yesterday's were a lot more exciting for sure. There's
True.
less to work with, but I mean, there's some funny stuff. I'm curious, like, you know, how your take on like the competitive viability of things is gonna be. The biggest one I think is Tasty Feyfolk, because some people are saying that's going to be really competitive and some people not so much.
Tasteful which?
No, the Tasty Feyfolk.
Oh yeah, I immediately when I saw this card, finally got Spooky Karma card. Immediately, like, because previously there was no good like free drop for the Karma control decks, and this is like, just because it's 4 damage and it's life steal, it's basically on average 7 HP for the deck.
Yeah, it's like a way better Emerald Awakener.
Yeah, exactly. So because like when you're turn 10, you are already at the if you are on the board, you are already winning anyway, and it's like just Emerald Awakener is just win more, and this card is perfect for the deck.
Yeah. So you would like auto include 3 of this in like a Spooky Karma?
Oh, yeah. For now, from what we've seen, I would easily slap 3 of these.
Okay.
If I could.
What about like Karma Ezreal?
Karma Ezreal.
It's harder to fit.
Sec. I need to see what's in the right now, if there is slot. The problem is, like, you don't want to play 3 mana. I honestly prefer just dropping Ezreal on 3 instead of this.
Yeah.
Like, my favorite play is just pass with 6 mana. If opponents pass back with 6, that's fine. And if they play some, like, the turn 3 play for the Ezreal deck, Karmasis, usually it's Static Shock plus Mystic Shot to develop, like, Claws of the Dragon proc, or to get the Deep Meditation for next turn. So I don't like playing units on turn 3 with Karmasis. I just like playing 2 spells to get the Claws of the Dragon out. Like, play Gotcha with Mystic Shot, play, like, Steel Tempest with some, like, with Static or Gotcha, just to get this discount with, or the Claw of the Dragon development. I don't really like the just dropping a free unit. I mean, I could see this being as a play if there is like a lot of mid-range stuff that has 4 HP and you don't have access to deal 4 damage with the deck right now. So if there is 4 HP unit you need to deal with, this is the card. Like, for example, if the Basilisk Rider was the meta, it's auto-include in every like. So if there is no 4 HP unit, I wouldn't put it. If there is 4 HP unit, yeah, I would put 3 of this.
Oh, even so, 3 of them in Karma Ezreal if there's a 4 HP unit. Yeah, that makes sense.
If there's like huge problem, like exactly the best example is Basilisk Rider. It was so oppressive, such a powerful card, so dominant on the ladder that yeah, I would put the 3 of these. But if there is no, I would probably just ignore it.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't go to a 3 of, just because you've like got the chump bump. But in my tournament list for Twitch Rivals, just because of Basilisk Rider, we weren't banning Darrowing. We were running like 3 chump bump for sure because of that. It's the same exact thing. Completely agree.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, it's pretty much just like that, like those 2 decks that can really run this card, right? I don't think there's much else.
Yeah. Yeah, right now, from what we've seen now, but yeah, we don't see the Lulu as well. Like, Lulu must fit. I think it should be like. I don't think she'll be supporting because when she competes, they want to make Shen Taric deck from what I've seen from those reveals. So I don't think they'll reveal like Lulu will be any support champion, but she might be like when she enters board, like give units plus 2 HP. I could see that being as a case, like something to like legal ulti.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So basically, when the Squirrel becomes much better unit, if Lulu is like 5-drop with decent stat base, and she enters the board, give plus HP to units, then Squirrel suddenly is not a trash card. Then Tasty Fallfolk is way better because he gets like 2, let's say 4/4, then he can trade with 2 units. And like overall, like all these cards would benefit getting from bonus HP. So like I'm betting that Lulu will have battle, like on play, give permanent HP to your units that are on board.
That's a good guess, and yeah, that could be pretty nasty with Tasty Fayfolk. What do you think about these other 4 cards? Because they look a little underwhelming, but they might have applications.
But they're just for Shen Fiora deck, like perfect, like all of them fits perfectly. Because now, if you play Shen Fiora deck, you run the Bannerman, but because of the Young Witch, you would play 9 1-drops, because you're gonna play this elusive, so with support, it's almost better than Worship for the deck, because you save your HP on your challengers, and they don't die, they trade for free most of the time, plus your support unit doesn't die, because most of the deck won't run elusive, unless some spells. But if you bait out removal for her, that's fine, right? And then what happens, you run this, you run very like 9 1-drops, 6 2-drops, 6 3-drops. 3-drops would be 6 challengers, Fiora and 2/4, the protege. The 1-drops would be the barrier grill, the fleet threader, and the flower child, right? So you run only support units. You run the warship, 3 warships. You cut protectors. You play 3 young witch. Then you have a lot of 1-drops to support them. And on 4, instead of Bannerman, you play Fuzzy Caretaker. Because if you don't draw Shen, you actually want to play something. And there is no so far better card than this Fuzzy Caretaker that would fit the slot better. Because Bannerman, obviously, you can't run him anymore because of so many Ionia cards, right?
Yeah.
And there is no better card than this card that can support the 1-drop so well and would benefit on the same side from like 6 support cards that are 2-drops. And they don't die that easy. Worship 3 HP, obviously, and the other one being elusive. So you're kind of guaranteed to get the value out of them.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of like Young Witch in that kind of deck. Young Witch with like Fleet Feather is pretty sweet. And I do like getting out of Bannerman, because I feel like Bannerman has been, like, you know, sort of a necessary thing in that deck just because of, like, the card pool and not because they really, like, super wanted it. I don't know about, like, Flower Child and Caretaker, though. That seems like they might not hit enough value.
It's about smorking, to be honest. Like Flower Child. Well, imagine like when you play Fleet Feather into War Chef, that's a 5 damage turn 2 usually, right?
Yeah.
This is like if you play Flower Child into the Young Witch or into War Chef, this is 5 to 6 damage turn 2. That's very oppressive. On top of that, if you get like a buffing unit, like if Lulu is a buffing unit, so when you don't in the deck, I could see cutting Thora would suck. But again, we'll see what Lulu does. But considering the current reviews, I'm pretty sure she'll have some sort of buffing line. You just want to curve out, like same as old Bannerman. Just those 1-drops suddenly deal each like from 3 to 6 damage each, and it's very oppressive to deal with, especially in the combat in the mid-range meta.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, it's felt for a while that like the way Demacia needs to move forward is to like be able to get out of Bannerman, to be able to have enough support cards, and there's a lot of different ways they can do that.
And what do you think about those cards? Like, would they fit anywhere else?
Nope. I think that's probably the only deck where I would consider Flower Child in. I think like
yeah.
Everywhere else it has to suck. And Caretaker I'm still not on board with. Caretaker feels really I don't know.
I mean, the problem is you don't have any other 4-drops, right, for the Shen deck. What else would you put to make a consistent, like, development on turn, like, turn 1, 2, 3, 4, like, curve out?
I mean, there's not much.
I'm pretty sure. Ranger is worse than this, definitely.
Ranger?
Yeah.
It could be. I think the choice between this and a Ranger feels pretty meta-dependent to me.
True.
I feel like there's plenty of metas where you would want Ranger for sure. But
yeah,
this could be better than Ranger.
The deck would struggle with blockers because like all of your units you want to attack with, and you don't have any blockers. And Ranger is a perfect unit to block with. So you could actually see that you want to play Ranger on defense and just as a champer. Actually, Ranger could be better than this, because now I'm thinking about like defending. Like, obviously, you don't want to defend with like Flower Child. You don't want to defend with the Young Witch, with War Chef, and you like with Fiora. You want those units only to go on offense, right? And then you don't have anything to jump with. Like until turn 4, you can just suck HP, and then start blocking like with stuff with like Ranger, Shen, and other stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely considerable there. It could be better than I was getting it credit for. Honestly, I'm down for it. Like at least trying it out.
Could be good deck to climb at day 1. Shen Fiora.
Yeah, but I mean, it really is just that deck, right? Like every other deck, these cards kind of suck in.
Yeah. What do you think about Squirrel?
It's hilarious. It's definitely not good, but it's really funny.
Yeah, the art is great.
Yeah, I agree. I'm very curious. Can we talk about the yesterday's cards though? Because there's so much to break down with Tariq and like that whole set.
I can't wait for Targon as real deck with the Shards of the Mountain.
Yeah. My chat was saying that that you liked Shards of the Mountain. Yeah,
like it depends how many target spells Targon will have. Like if there will be possibility to make, it's only for the combo deck, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it will fit only if you have enough cycle cards and enough target cards. Like basically, we would need another like card that targets something, like another static shock, basically.
Yeah.
To justify it, so you can cycle, like cheap cycle, and that and you can empty your hand fast, so it gets more value. But I could see that not being as a case and just run like, let's say, Mentor of the Stones, for example.
Yeah, Mentor just seems better. It seems like it would be really hard for you to need exactly that many gems. Like they're gonna have some pretty heavy diminishing returns.
Yeah, exactly.
Mentor is insane though.
Better. Yeah, probably. Yeah. I was talking about like if you can empty your hand and cycle and or target a lot and draw in the same time, shards would be playable. but most of the time Mentor will be just straight up better.
Yeah. What do you think about
Like,
Tark
mhm.
in general? Or you can say what you wanted to say first. I didn't mean to interrupt.
So about the Tariq, like I'm not a fan of the mid-range decks, you know that. Like, and I'm like, yeah, it's okay card, but the problem is you have to commit mana, like before your opponent does anything. Imagine you play Tariq, you play spell, and then you're tapped out, and the opponent is sitting there and kick W with 8 mana, waiting for you to play everything, and then they can play their stuff. So you're already putting yourself into disadvantage before even combat starts.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not a fan of the card. And that card is all about, like the card game, the Runeterra is all about playing second. Whoever gets to play second usually is in the better spot. And Tariq gives you benefits of playing first, but again, if you play against the mid-range decks or smorg decks, it's not the problem. If you play against control decks, it's all about the meta. If there will be no control in the meta, then the card is good. If there will be control heavy meta, this card will be unplayable, I think.
Yep. I think I agree with that. I think even though, like, I don't know, it feels really optimistic. Like, even in the non-control meta, it feels like there would often be better options. What I'm curious is how you would build him, because you can build him in so many different ways. Like, what second color would you choose?
So far, like, Shen Tariq screams, I guess. But, maybe with Brown. The problem is mana, like 4 mana. Like, it's so, like, they put so many stuff on the 4 mana.
Exactly. So
You have to play around it.
What I was thinking for the meta is just like entreat Braum Mentor and just cut Tarek. Just like now that we have like gems and Mentor, like Braum is so easily and very,
Mentor
very reliably.
into Brown is naughty.
Absolutely ridiculous, and it's so reliable to get the +1 attack. And also Bastion in that deck with Braum, like 2 Bastions, is really
you need
really,
the Bastion.
really good.
Like Bastion is scuff deny, but you need it.
Yep, exactly. So I think that's a scary deck, but that deck definitely wants to cut Tarek for sure.
Yep, I agree about it. If you run a 3, definitely.
This is kind of weird. We're agreeing on a lot, Alan. This is freaking me out.
I mean, you grew. What can I tell?
What were you gonna say?
What do you think about Mountain Goat?
Pretty awful.
Yeah, I mean, it trades with stuff, but it's a good expedition card.
Yeah, basically. I don't know, man. I
What
still
about
can't.
Gift Giver?
It's all right. I would run it in the Braum deck. I think. It's.
You
I mean,
think?
It
It's
depends
such a
on
low
options.
value.
It depends on options. I would at least consider it in the Braum deck. I would try it out, and then we would see.
I would play Mountain Goat over Gift Giver actually in the Brown deck. Like, just to have an option to trade with stuff. Like, the Gift Giver doesn't even trade.
Yeah, I could see that being almost a meta-dependent option. I feel like in a meta where I was gonna cut Gift Giver, I probably wouldn't run Mountain Goat either. Like,
Yeah, it's all about like when I'm looking at those 3 damage units, I'm looking like, okay, that's a 2 mana deal 3 damage spell as well, right? Sometimes against mid-range decks, you just use it to deal with the stuff, and you get the on top of that the value of a gem. And again, and the question is if the meta has 3 damage, one damage poke spells or not.
exactly.
And that would be the only case if I wanted to cut Goat or not.
Yeah, I mean, it's really impossible to say, like, whether we're running these cards, because, like, there's just, like, mildly considerable meta calls, really. I'm curious, I'm really curious, like, on this Shards of the Mountain thing, though, because I'm really not seeing it. I really am not seeing
the problem
this
with the card is it's so slow. Like, I could see this only being played with specific Ezreal combo, like nothing else. Like, it doesn't fit for sure in a mid-range deck, because not only you have to play 4 mana to get gems, but then you need mana to like, if this card discounted the gems to 0 mana, then it would be okay.
Yeah.
But 4 mana just feel that, no. Like, it doesn't, like, you don't have enough mana for the mid-range deck to use it. Because you're gonna be tapped out, on you can't play it on turn 4, you can't play it on turn 5, you could play it on turn 6 maybe. The earliest, because before you have even mana to utilize, because it's not a 4 mana card, it's like 5 mana at least, because you need to play the gem, right? If you want to play a gem, And if your entire turn is play shards and 1 gem, what the fuck are you doing with the deck, right?
Exactly. I mean, it's just kind of like, there's just no reason to have, like, at the end of the game, when you're out of resources, why would you want to draw, like, a bunch of gems? Like,
yeah, exactly. You have no board to play them even on.
I mean, you could kind of imagine it in, like, an elusive deck to be a finisher, but why not just play, like, something better, right?
I would just rather run the Trinamir special card, the Fury, instead of this, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, you could get like Wind for a hatchling in at that point if you have the mana to play like this card for value.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, it's just kind of a trolley card.
What would you play Tariko with? Because you already told me what would you cut it from. You didn't play what would you play with
yeah, that's true. So Rattling Bones really likes it with like Nox aggro. That's what he was saying, and I do like that direction. Basically, you can like often use like Might with Tarek. Like just doubling up on Might can be really ridiculous sometimes. Like you don't even try to level Tarek. And you have some probably like Arbiters to finish, because Arbiters will actually discount really, really, really fast in that deck. I can see that.
Huh.
The only other thing is like just using it with like Lee Sin decks we were talking about could actually be kind of alright. I don't know. Tarek is weird.
Problem is like Lee Sin deck needs like stuff to stall. This card doesn't stall.
Exactly.
Right? Because it forces you to be proactive. And as a Lee Sin deck, you want to be reactive until Lee Sin, but when you become proactive. So running like 6 champions that want to be proactive, I think that's a no-go. In terms of Noxus, yeah, I think that will be just a cheese deck, probably, the Taric.
I agree with that. I think Rattling Bones is kind of smoking on this one.
I mean, that's the same thing as running right now Lucian Senna Noxus, right? With
exactly.
That's just a cheese deck. That works like 50% of the time, but you would win anyway with other cards at this spot if you didn't have that cards, right? Because you carved out anyway.
Yeah,
so
pretty much.
It could be just a funny meme deck.
And then there's like the Fizz deck, which honestly could be better than given credit for. Just like, you know, the infinite Fizz combo with Tarek, where you can just get infinite attacks. He basically builds like an elusive Targon deck with like some of the power buff cards. Like we've got Mentor and Gems, and Bilgewater is the best elusive region since Ionia got nerfed. And sometimes you win the game off of like Fizz infinitely attacking off of Targon infinitely casting Prankster or Trickster. What's it called? Playful Trickster? I don't know.
But how do you discount Trickster? Wait, am I missing something?
Because you use Fizz's spell on Tarek on the attack, and then Tarek will cast it every attack, and then you get infinite attacks.
Wait, does it work like this?
Yeah. The developers confirmed this works. This actually is something that works. So every time you attack, Tarek will use Trickster on the card he's supporting, and then if you have even a small elusive that's also attacking, you'll just eventually win the game by infinitely attacking. Right? And all you need to do... All you need to do is level up Tarek.
You need 3 units, right?
Yes. You need to level up Tarek.
So just fill your deck with warning shots then to protect your Fizz?
You could. Well, you also might not even need Fizz, because the thing is, so the way Tarek works is if he's leveled, he doesn't take damage, right? So
yeah, but you...
If Tarek's leveled, you don't even need a 3rd unit. You can just like infinitely attack with your Tarek, and he'll just keep using Trickster on whatever he's supporting, right? So like,
doesn't it use Trickster on him as well automatically?
No. It only uses it on the other card. He clones what you originally casted on him onto the other card.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't think about that interaction. That's pretty smart.
It's like kind of insane. Yeah, Kuvira thought of it.
I like this. It's a combo deck. It's cool. I like it.
I don't know if you can level up Tarek with that Trickster. You just get a win.
Do you care about leveling up? Wait, I've seen your target. You need to have him on board, right, to see the target.
Yeah, which is really hard.
I mean, he's 4 HP. I mean, but you play 4 mana and if you don't attack, you do like 4 mana do nothing. It's kinda yikes.
He probably only casts a spell once. Guys, we have developer confirmation. They literally confirmed that it works exactly like this. Like you can use the spell infinitely, and you can attack infinitely if you have that board state.
That's how much mana? That's 4 mana. Okay, we are running Targon then with Bilgewater. That means you can't. There is like no much buffers. Oh, there is Tarik's Blessing. That's okay. There is one blessing, and that's only not on. I'm thinking about like that you can buff up your units, right? So
Yeah.
like Freljord twice, because you don't run Freljord then with this, which is kind of yikes. Because you needed those buffers, but when you have those gems, you have those blessing. It could work. It could be decent deck.
Yeah, I mean, it's hilarious. I love it when degenerate combo decks actually become competitive.
I mean, I remember when people were KWing at the green-blue from Artifact before the game got released.
Yeah.
And it was something. It was literally the same spot, right? We are talking right now about the Taric and Fizz. It was not even like no one thought it would be ever competitive deck or even a good deck. It was just a meme that sometimes worked until like it was polished and it was the best deck in the game until it had to be fucking nerfed. It could be the same case for this.
It was pretty bad. I never really lost against it.
Really? It won every major tournament.
I never lost a tournament to Storm. It's just as the game developed and it kind of died, so nobody realized. But as decks optimized, it just kind of became mono blue with weaker tables. It was an exploitative deck. It was only good against people that misplayed against it. Yeah, Storm was shit.
I mean, after nerfing the I don't remember the name. The trigger, the death thing on the tower. How is it called?
Cheating death.
Oh yeah. After the nerf on the cheating death, I agree. The deck got significantly worse. But before, I don't know. All right. We had more reviews, right?
There was just the day one ones, and all those sucked. We can skip most of them, but I do want to get your thoughts on Bastion. Finally, that's the last one.
Bastion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically deny for other regions, like the scuff deny for the Targon.
And it's a bit worse than deny, but it doesn't matter because it's in Targon, so you'll use it in the same situations you want deny in.
Yeah, exactly. I love they put this in. Like they didn't want to make another like deny for the other region, and they just figured a way they can do it with another concept, and I love it. That's very smart.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want Ionia to be the only region that can interact with opponent's spells.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it.
Yeah.
It's
great.
It's completely a meta call. And I think in some spots it's gonna be even better than deny.
What kind of situations? Just like for the -1 mana?
That and burst. It can be interacted with like another like deny.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
Because there are plays like where you are sitting there with like let's say 9 mana now, sometimes before 8, and you have will plus deny. I'm like, okay, I can will here. He's gonna deny. I can deny. He's deny. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what happens? They can't deny your Bastion, right? And if they commit will, your Bastion, and they don't have like target spell, another to proc it. It's way better.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, it's a card that's just like, I think people are overrating it a bit. There's going to be plenty of metas plenty of metas and decks where it's like 0 of, but it's going to be anywhere between 0 and 2.
1 or 2 of. Yeah, I think it's 1 or 2 of sometimes, but not. It
plenty of time. Yeah.
Depends how much control there will be, because you need to, like, this card to be good, you need to get the value out of at least 4 mana spell, otherwise it's not worth using. So against any AoE, it's gonna be just worse. Unless we are talking about Ruination. And against any target spell, it's gonna be worse only in the case where it's like Grasp, Vengeance. So if the SI is not in the meta, the card won't be in the meta as well. Because this card only benefits so far from SI, like playing against SI.
Exactly. Pretty much just Vengeance and Ruination are the biggest ones.
Yeah.
I think it's a really big thing that people are overlooking, that like Deny has actually had like good aggro tables for ages, which has carried it as a card. The fact that it hits like Decimate is insanely valuable, and the fact that Bastion blanks against aggro is a really, really, really big limitation that people aren't pointing out.
Yeah, I agree about that, for sure.
So I think there's some people that are like thinking that Bastion's on the level of Deny, and it's definitely weaker in general. But it doesn't matter because it's in Targon, so you'll use it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but if you're playing like Targon, Ionia, and you're gonna be choosing between one of two, you're gonna run Deny, obviously.
100%.
You're not gonna run Bastion, so.
I don't know. Some of my friends are saying you'll run both, which is, I mean, I think that's kind of trolly, to be honest.
I mean, I don't know what would be the meta need to be to run like just only Spooky Karma on the ladder, where you keep denies for the mysticals.
Pretty much, 100%. Like, it would have to be something insanely specific.
I can't wait for the control champions or so, like. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm excited about the reviews, but this is just combat-based reviews. Give me something juicy so I can just stall the game. Just pass with my 13 mana.
Yeah, I just want to play like uninteractive combos. We haven't seen quite enough of that yet. They're just printing a lot of like kind of mid-range cards, honestly.
Yeah, people cry about Ezreal and not being able to interact with it. But I actually love those degenerate decks that yours like you have to work your ass hard to get to the point where you can't interact, where your opponent can't interact.
Right, exactly. It's all earned. It's all payoff. You have to do a lot of passes.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't get that.
Has to figure stuff out, and you can just pass and chill.
Exactly. It's not easy hitting that spacebar every turn.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. People don't get that, but you, Alan, you get me.
Yeah. Give me Aesol.
Alright, man, I'm probably...
What do you think Aesol will do?
I have no idea, I never played League.
Oh, okay. I mean, he's not played... I've played like 200 games League, and I haven't seen single time Aesol being played, so I don't know what he does as well. On Ranked.
Yo, I think we got pretty much everything covered. I mean, we skipped a few of the bad cards, but we don't really need to talk about those.
Yeah.
Probably switch off to some other people. Thanks for coming on, though, man. It was a lot of fun.
Thanks for talk, man. Yeah. I have to do it again after more reviews.
Yeah, sounds good, buddy.
Alright.
Alright, later,
Peace
man.
out.
Take care. Look at that, guys. The time is 10:54 a.m., August 13th, the year of our Lord 2020. And Alan and I are having civilized conversations in which we agree on almost everything. Absolutely crazy. I think he's trolling about Fuzzy Caretaker. That's kind of about it. It's like you can run what's it called, Flower Thingy? That's the one deck you can run Flower Thingy in. Flower Child. Yeah. That's pretty much it. Who else we got, boys? Who else we got? We're gonna need to milk this a little bit harder. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. There's only so much more we can milk today. We can't milk today too much more, but we can definitely go a bit harder. We can get a few more takes in here. Let's go ahead and start with our boy GrappLr. What's up, buddy?
Hey, what's up, dude?
Not much, just chilling. You gonna do cam today?
Oh man, I'm a disaster. I just woke up. There's no way I'm putting my face on cam.
Dude, do you think I take a shower before I put my cam on?
Ooh, I mean, but
How bad is it? How bad is it really, GrappLr?
Like from 1 being horrible as it can be and 10 being as best, like a 3. I have like crusty eyes, dude. I literally just woke up when I saw your message.
No, that's cool, man. That's cool. I'm not gonna pressure you. Yo, what do you think of today's reveals? We were talking about you with Swole Squirrel a lot.
I saw your Twitter post. I just looked over the cards, but I haven't really thought about it much. Give me a sec. I'll give you a picture to use. I think that worked.
Sounds good, buddy.
Because I got to give you a different one than yesterday to keep things fresh.
Yeah, I'll probably keep things like a little bit shorter here, just because I mean a few of these cards are probably today's was a bit more limited. They're kind of alternating, like every other day they do like a big champ archetype that there's a lot to talk about, and sometimes they're just kind of like support cards.
Sure. No, I agree. Looking at the cards, nothing super special. There's some cool stuff, but not really my playstyle that much.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find this. Okay, here we go. Here's a fun picture that my stream was nice enough to make for me. Kind of scared me at first, but I kind of grew to like it.
Ooh. Yeah, that's...
What do you think of the new card?
Overall, my impression is Tasty Faithfolk is probably going to be worse than Zedge. It might make sense in one deck. Alan was saying he likes it in Spooky Karma, and I think I agree with that. The only problem is I don't think Spooky Karma is really going to be that good. I think...
I was thinking the same as Alan. I like Tasty. I mean, I like the idea that he exists because Ionia doesn't have that much lifesteal, and it doesn't have that much healing in general. Like you're kind of forced to play Freljord. I mean, sorry, not Freljord. SI. If you want to have the lifesteal drains, maybe that opens up some other options because you only have healing part, right? And the barrier card.
And the little dragonlings. Doesn't Ionia have the second most healing in the entire game?
Oh, it does have dragonlings now. That's true. That's a good point. I still like that it exists. I don't know how good it is, but I think it's usable. Like, isn't the 3/2 from SI pretty good? Just for what it does?
Yeah, no. It's just like, the only problem with this card is it's in Ionia. I feel like it would actually be a lot more playable. Like, if Shadow Isles had this card, they would absolutely run it.
Put this in Bilgewater, for example, I would run it for sure.
Yeah.
Because I feel like sometimes I'm missing healing in Bilgewater and you just can't get it without playing SI.
And it's like the one region they could print this in, and I'd be like, yuck. I guess Demacia as well. But
yeah,
like,
in Demacia, this would be pretty bad, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, I don't know. You can give it tough, you could give it, like, on curve into Bannerman, I don't know. But Demacia doesn't need lifesteal, does it? It has the 5-drop.
Yeah, that's true. It's like, I mean, their game plan doesn't even really need lifesteal that much overall. Like, they run Radiant Guardian
just
because it's strong.
Sure. I don't know. I think the best out of all of these cards. I mean, obviously the Swole Squirrel, but other than that, like second place, I would give to Young Witch probably. Then third place, I would give to Fuzzy Caretaker, maybe, and last place Flower Child.
I think Flower Child would be ahead of Fuzzy Caretaker, but I'm not a big fan of either card.
I don't know. Flower Child, like a permanently growing 1-drop. It kind of like reminds me of like a bad Zombie Chow. You know that card from Hearthstone?
Oh, dude, I was comparing it to Zombie Chow.
Yeah, but it's like it doesn't gain HP, so it doesn't get that that oomph, you know, that staying ability. You just can't barrel out of control with it. It's just gonna die. Eventually.
I said
like,
the same
not
exact
eventually,
thing.
like super soon.
Yeah. No.
All right,
exactly.
so then we're on the same page with that card. So I mean, it's just attack, right? It's like who runs the 0/3 from Freljord, even though you can buff it with a lot of stuff quickly.
Well,
it just
it's really
dies
like
fast.
it's like Astute
It's
Academic,
usable.
where it's like it's sort of like, you know, you can imagine it getting a lot of attack, but you don't really need your 1-drop to get a lot of attack later, right? You just want it to deal damage
Who's just
now.
Academic, the one that gets it from draw, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but that's a permanent 2/2 basically. At worst case scenario on the second turn, right? And usually it's better, but the problem with Flower Child is dependent on a certain deck archetype with supports, and you can't play it in any deck. Like, and how good are those support decks going to be, especially with Ionia? I don't know. I think it's dependent on a very B tier deck.
I think I agree with that. Ellen was saying you could run it with like Shen Fiora, like Flower Child with Young Witch, and like Young Witch can hit Flower Child can hit War Chefs, and Young Witch can also hit Fleet Feather Tracker, and like I think that's all right. I don't know if that's really an improvement to Demacia's current game plan though.
Do you really want Flower Child in a Fiora deck though? I don't know.
That's kind of what I said. I mean, I don't hate the idea. It's not. It really is something that's worth trying.
Yeah, I mean it's worth trying. I just don't. I don't see the archetype being strong enough to just for it to shine where it needs to shine. I think there's better 1-drops. I'd rather have the 2/2 1-drop than that.
Yeah.
At least then it trades with 2-drops like right off the bat. This is. It needs first of all to find itself 2-drop or 3-drop that can buff it. I don't know. When I get that open attack either.
What I really want, GrappLr, is I want you to weigh in on Swole Squirrel, because this is a really, really, really funny card.
Oh, I mean, honestly, I think it's perfect.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's just a meme card. We're gonna have like 200 attack Swole Squirrels off of like Judgments, We're gonna have like
It's the perfect
Nox
meme card.
versions. Yeah, it's just a trolly
And
card.
the art is spot on. Look at that art, dude. Look at the
100%.
face.
100%.
Usually, like over the top buff cards are just like meh, whatever. But look at the face. It's so lovable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a fan.
I mean, what are you most excited to use this with? Because there's like many different combos.
I think with Judgment, you can get it like to be crazy really quickly. Like, what's the max board size? 6, right?
Yeah. So that's 192
Yeah, so-
from 3.
That's from 3.
Yeah, if you hit 6 with Judgment, you
Okay,
get
yeah,
192.
6, 12, 24, 48, 96. Yeah, 192. Yeah, you're right. Oh,
Math
did
checks
you have
out.
that pre-written down, or was that just that fast?
I'm half Asian.
You're half Asian, gotcha. Yeah, nice, dude.
Unfortunately
you're
for me, it's the wrong half. So that's fine. So yeah, I mean, Judgment's really funny. You can do some really funny stuff with like Whirling Death Might stuff. Like that's really good.
Ooh, I didn't even think about Might. Oh, wow.
Oh hell yeah, dude. And you know, GrappLr, let me give you one more.
Yeah.
Dragon
Go-
Kick.
Oh no, dude.
Because Dragon Kick, it
Dragon
damages
Kick,
the
dude.
unit and then the Nexus.
And
so
then the
you'll-
Nexus, it doubles
yeah.
first. That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
I wasn't thinking about it. I was thinking about Might. Sorry, I wasn't thinking about the Whirling Death. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so you can Whirling Death into then your double damage once you hit with Might. That's pretty sick. Yeah, I think that, it might not be that bad in a Noxus deck. Might not be that bad. I mean, I think it's gonna be bad, but
Yeah, it's gonna be
the
bad.
dream is not that bad. It's not that hard to pull off.
Yeah,
You can pull it off once every couple of games.
It's sort of like a worse Shiraza.
Yeah, you think so? Isn't Shiraza 3 attack? I mean 3 defense.
Yeah, I was saying
Yeah, Shiraza
that
dies way too
the
easily.
+1 defense is really important, but the fact that Shiraza is able to redouble her first hit to the Nexus is also really important, because Squirrel only starts redoubling after he strikes, which is like...
I guess, yeah, maybe.
I mean, you can run
I
both.
don't know.
It's more combo pieces, more ways to hit your combo, which is really important.
Oh no, dude, you're gonna run triple Squirrel, triple Shiraza.
Triple Horns, dude. 9 of. Let's go.
Oh my god. Yeah, sure. That sounds fun, actually. If you what happens if you give it a buff like +4 attack? How much does Kato the Arm give? 4 or 3?
Kato gives 3.
4, right?
Yeah.
3. Okay, so does it double him to 12 and then reduce to 3 and putting him to 9?
Yeah,
On
that's
one
exactly how it works.
Okay, so well, okay.
And if
I
you-
think he's gonna be the best Noxus.
If you add the Whirling Death, it's 21. Because, like, it's very easy to bank 3 mana, play
Yeah.
Squirrel on 4, Kato on 5, just swing in with Whirling Death, and you end up with 21 permanent stats.
That's true. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, it's a pretty fun meme card. I like it. I don't know if I'm gonna play it much because it's not really my playstyle, but
I thought you were Mr. Memes, GrappLr.
yeah, but I like to do like control memes. I'm not a huge fan of like I've never played I don't think on stream I've ever played more than once or twice something with like I don't think I've ever played Shiraza, like maybe one game of what's his face, Horn of the Dragon. I like stall decks, control decks.
Oh, that makes sense.
This is like tempo swing meme is not really my playstyle.
That's perfect, because I like tempo memes, but I hate control memes.
Oh my god, I love control memes. Yeah, I live for like big ruinations where I destroy my opponent's dreams nice and slow,
Yeah.
and then I just watch them in the eyes and just think, are they going to concede or not? And then they just concede. It's the most beautiful thing.
Right. It's great. The best part of card games is like just imagining the opponent's face. I mean, you can't see them, but just like when a certain thing happens, just imagining what they must be feeling.
Oh, I absolutely agree. It's the best kind of empathy, just to feel it.
I wasn't thinking empathy, but yeah. I agree, GrappLr. I agree.
Like
Yeah.
backwards empathy.
All right, man. Well, that's...
You get the opposite reaction.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right, well, we'll probably have a lot more to talk about tomorrow. Still not sure how I'm doing these things. I'm still kind of like playing it by ear. I might be down to have you on again. What do you guys think? Should we get GrappLr on again tomorrow? There was gonna be a champ, right? They're doing alternations.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, I like these conversations. I don't really have any time to prepare my thoughts or anything because you just woke me up, but cards are cool. Cards are pretty cool.
They're very cool, man. They're very cool. All right.
I think Fuzzy Caretaker's a meme.
You think it's a meme?
Yeah.
I agree. What is with this GrappLr? I thought you were Mr. Memes, but in these reveals, in these like predictions, you're fucking slapping shit. You're like, man, this card's jank. I'm fucking like, you know, I mean, there's some real pessimism or realism, if you want to call it. But there's a lot of players are being like really optimistic. I've seen some blazing hot takes from these guys, GrappLr.
A lot of players, or like streamers, you mean?
Yeah. People that I have respect for, or at the very least, used to. And there's just so many, you know, rattling bones. Is just like so hard for Tarek, and man, it's like Tarek's. I love the design, I love the combo ability, and I think it'll make like a couple of decent decks, but there's some real jerking off going on. There's some real like people are like really big on certain things.
Yeah, I mean, I guess people want to be hyped. I think a lot of people burnt out super early, and they just want to be hyped, and they're just hyping themselves up. I like to underhype myself, and then I feel more hyped if it actually works. But I also like to be realistic. I mean, you got to look at the cards at what they bring in the current card set, and if something else comes out that supports them, awesome. If not, I mean, they're just gonna be stuck in a dream that you can't really fulfill because you don't have the tools to make it happen.
Exactly, dude. All right, man. Well, thanks for coming on. This was a fun little one.
It was fun, yeah. Yeah, it was nice and short. That's what she said. All right, man. I'll see you later.
Later, buddy. But yeah, this was fun. I think we were a lot more to the point today. I've kind of improved at this formula a little bit. I like the short form like one-on-ones. Like, obviously, I'm not gonna lie, there wasn't really that much to do with today's, just because it was like, you know, I mean, there's 5 pretty generic cards. There's not a lot of like unique synergy points. The thing is, when they reveal a champ like Tarek, there's so much to talk about. There's so many different synergy points. There's so many like different decks we can be theory crafting already, right? But with just like the kind of like every other day when we get these little bundles, yeah, I mean, there's usually going to be 1 or 2 like big talking points. But for the most part, it's kind of hard to like talk about it for a super long time. And most people tend to agree on the same stuff. It's just a couple of like minor takes about like what could be you know, looking good, what could be looking a little bit worse. BBG. I think I'll probably call it here for now, for the time being, just because like that would be truly milking. If this was a champion day, I'd go harder. I'd get more, but I think I want to like kind of like keep it as is, and just kind of like keep that the daily podcast for today. We'll get BBG tomorrow though, okay, guys? But yeah, these are really fun. These are really quite fun. I'd love you guys if you can give me a little bit more feedback, because I really do want to just get better at this. Just this idea of like sort of like trying to make some kind of compelling or entertaining podcast, or even hosting. So tips on either like the format or me as a sort of host. Was it better when there were more people, or do you like the one-on-ones? What kind of questions are good? You know, that kind of thing, right? Or even like particular people that you want to see on. Because I think like I want to do more of this kind of thing. I think it's kind of fun. I think it's kind of different, and it's something that I've never really been good at, but I've always wanted to get good at. You know what I mean? All right, but yeah, that's it for the wrap up, the little podcast thingy today. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.